What's the TDD?
All right.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Now.
We are back with episode 2 of TDD, an insight into technology, disability, and desire across the South Carolina and hint, Georgia area.
Never went down.
Starting us off with a solid episode 2. Bryce Ross, you want to speak about your experience?
Yeah, I do. So myself, I love a good show. A music show, perhaps. But there are plenty of shows that I've been to. So me and my roommate and her boyfriend and one of her best friends, we decided to go see Florence and the Machine, opened by King Princess, which was... Yeah, I didn't know that.
For our audience members that might not know, can you give just a quick rundown on the kind of vibe Florence and the Machine are giving?
Girl, Florence makes music for fairies, not the gay kind, but like they could be gay, but she makes music for woodland creatures.
Let's be honest, there's a Venn diagram.
There's a pretty clear overlap. She makes music it's very ethereal, very like Baroque, orchestral, very vibe. It's a vibe, it has a vibe, and So, we got pit tickets, because it was my roommate's first time seeing her, and Florence is her absolute fave.
She's a fan, yeah.
Yeah, she's a stan. I have a Florence and the Machine tattoo. I had already seen her before though, but I had never seen her in the pit. Anyway, so we decided, for some reason, that Sage wanted to go barricade. So we showed up at this amphitheater in Georgia at 10 in the morning.
Oh, in Atlanta?
Boo.
In Alpharetta, like right outside of Atlanta.
Okay, when was the show?
The gates did not open until 7 o'clock at night.
That was
9 hours.
a bad choice.
Well, and we could have gotten there at 3 and accomplished the exact same thing, you know what I mean? The barricade, we didn't realize how long it actually was, and it was kind of like viewed out, so like there was definitely a room for enough people. But we got barricaded and it was fun. So I'm gonna run through some of, kind of what happened. So we get to the entrance of this amphitheater. It's just this concrete pad, concrete jungle where dreams are made. And there's like, a tree planted in the middle of this, concrete, thing. There are some trees all around because they're trying to beautify the area, the works. But we're just sitting surrounded by concrete. And there are like lawn chairs that are kind of in this amorphous blob where, we're all kind of looking at each other, we're all talking to each other, et cetera, et cetera. But everyone was like painting their nails when we got there, just talking about like the shows that they had been to, because some of these people were actually following her, and like they had gone to the show in Nashville the night before, and like had a good time. They were talking about things that had happened. They had kind of created their own little like lingo surrounding the show, to be honest. Like there's this song off of her new album called Dream Girl Evil, and during that song, Florence goes down to the barricade and like grabs a girl in the middle of or someone in the middle of the crowd and like sings into her face like the intro. And this girl who was there since like 4 in the morning, I think, she was like, I got Dream Girl Evil last night. Like it was so like, and we were like, okay, girl, like be serious. But she was really sweet. So we got there. First thing that they do, the girl who got Dream Girl Evil, her name was Chelsea. She was cool. She was like, I need to put a number on your hand. So she numbered us off so that when we actually got in line when the doors opened, that we would all be in order. I was number 17, which was fun.
Good year.
Theoretically, 17 BC, or 17 BC, or CE.
CE.
Okay.
I'm going to say.
Common era, yeah. Current era. Anyway, so I was 17. I theoretically could have gotten marked, or just written a number, and left. And then, like, they would have, but I mean, there's a kind of common decency of, like, we're all gonna sit out here and camp out because these people have been doing it since 4 a.m. we're not gonna like be disrespectful. Though some people did that, and it was actually really funny. And they got barricaded. So we could have done it. But it was like hot as hell that day. It was like 90 degrees, like pretty much consistently the whole day. We were sitting outside for several hours. The sun kept like retreating back so that the shadows were like pulling away from us and like exposing us to the sun, which was not fun. So that was a mess.
You looked cute though.
Oh, it looked great, but like that's not, you know, that was never a question. But so, you know, when we get there, I mean, there was already a little clique that kind of had formed. They were all sitting in their little lawn chairs, like being cute, whatever, painting their nails, blah blah blah. Somewhat exclusive to like some of the new people who were rolling up. Like the people who knew each other obviously took precedence, or the people who had been there for several hours or had been there since super early in the morning, like had already formed their little alliance. So we pulled up, and we were kind of expecting to be accepted into the folds more or less, but they weren't like super interested in talking to us, to be real. So I just like pulled out my little book and started reading, but I could not pay attention. It was not a vibe. But you know, I had a couple little texts with me, and I decided to read for class, and you know, whatever. But it was extremely distracting, even though it was like pretty quiet outside. But the mumble and cackle of you know all the people who were around us, a little distracting. We were then at that point all like doing our makeup and like just walking around and like talking in our own little respective cliques. And this like old lady just walked up out of nowhere. It was kind of funny. But she had on like a tank top that was like neon orange and like cargo camouflage knee-length shorts.
Cargo
So
shorts,
cargo
lady.
shorts.
She's made an appearance.
She was in like her 60s, and I was like,
Was she
oh,
a
this
tourist?
lady like works here or something. No, she had been camping out since like early as fucking morning. Like she was there, riding out with us. Don't know who she was. Never got to talk to her. I hope she's having a good day. But I was like, she's gonna cook out here in the sun.
Yeah.
Like, somebody needs to make sure she's got
Tank
plenty
top?
of water on her. Yeah, she did have a tank top on.
Since SPF 40.
I would hope so. No, 50 is the
Was she like an outlier in terms of like age? Or
absolutely. I mean, so there was this one guy who I don't think he was number one, but he was one of the first ones there. His name is David. He was like an older gay man. He was probably in his like late 40s, and he was
Not old, middle-aged.
he was kind of the ringleader of, you know, like getting everybody organized and you know, whatever. I'll get back to David later. But yeah, it was him, and then like everybody else was in their like early 20s, like definitively. So she was like absolutely an outlier. And it was interesting. But everybody, like, they were, you know, getting along. I mean, but people did kind of segment a little bit by age at one point.
Yeah.
Like, once there started getting, you know, to be more older people who were there, they all kind of congregated to sit with each other. They had little blankets and cushions and chairs, and, you know, they had propped themselves up in ways that were more comfortable for them. But we just, like, put our little blankets down. We were moving things around a little bit because we had to for the sun to not, you know, cook us. So we, you know, we're getting checked on by security, which was nice. I mean, they were all super cool. They were all just kind of manning the entrance, or there was one guy who was manning the gates, like the metal detector gates, and then there was another guy who was just kind of walking the grounds and talking to everybody, and he was like super fucking funny.
They were probably bored too.
Oh, they were totally, yeah, they were trying to find a way to make their job more interesting, and like, we were a fun crowd. So they take this like giant oscillating mister fan and go fill it up, and then they come out, plug it in, and we're all like, thank fuck y'all brought this fan out here. It was hot. So me and Brogan are just standing in front of this fan, just getting like misted back and forth. A lot of the younger people were like, nah, I don't need it. Like, they were fine. My big hot sweaty ass is like, I need water. Like, I'm dehydrated. Like, I got dehydrated very quickly. So I was like, I need something.
This is like, sorry, I'm gonna get on to it.
No, yeah,
This is like a phenomenon though. Like, this is something that's like in the past few years, and I think especially post-COVID, it has like gotten worse. Like within like a lot of fandoms, is like, then like I don't need like any like accommodations or help or like accessibility.
Yeah.
Like Harry concerts are the same way. Like when I went to MSG last week, people were camping out MSG is like you can't camp out because
Yeah.
they don't want you on the
'Cause you're on the streets.
the streets of New York
Yeah.
City. So they sleep in tents on the opposite side of the street,
Weird.
where like the other train hall is, and they're not supposed to, and like it's like a competition of like who can last the
Exactly. If
longest
you-
without
Who's
like water.
real.
You're a better fan
Yeah.
if like you don't need
I
to survive.
deprive
Fascinating.
myself of survival.
And this goes into the
And some people can't do that.
It's
No, I couldn't do that.
Parasocial relationships is like, oh, somehow if I starve myself or I don't drink any water, don't get whatever, it proves that I'm a bigger fan, or I love Harry, or I love
Because
Florence
I am
more.
delusioned to the point where I think that means anything.
But I mean,
No, you're just stinky in the pit.
That's what
You haven't showered in 2 days.
You are dehydrated because you've been sweating from sitting out in the sun for
Harry
9
don't
hours.
notice.
When,
Harry does not give a fuck.
When like I went, like I don't ever really desire or like aspire to like get in like the pit for Harry. I don't want him first off to perceive
That's
me.
probably nuts.
Second, like I went with my mom, and my mom's old. Like she can't like stand up in a pit for hours. She's also shorter than I am because
Yeah.
she sure is shrinking.
Damn.
Like, and so like she can't be handled in a pit. And so like when you
Yeah.
talk about like people getting older and like all those sorts of things, or like you can't go in the pit perhaps if you have a different disability, depending on like however
Yeah.
you.
Not
like-
even just that. I mean, kind of going on top
But
of
and
that
normal,
too.
like, or sorry, not normal, like able-bodied.
Yeah.
people do,
Yeah.
like being like saying like I even needed to like have like a fan on me. Like,
Yeah.
No,
well,
I needed to,
well, and another thing too I think about is just like how, and this is, and we'll talk about this more as you talk about the show, but just different fan experiences are associated with different fanship, as well as how, you know, if you're not willing to pay $500, I mean, if we're talking
Yeah.
about accessibility just based on
Fiscal
pricing
accessibility.
alone, and then on top of it is just sheer, I mean, I went to a comedy show for an hour and a half to almost 2 hours, so not very long at all, and was sitting down outside, and it was so hot that I couldn't even really laugh because of how uncomfortable I was.
Yeah.
And I just don't sympathize with, or I can't really sympathize, maybe empathize, either one, with the experience of just like enjoying a show, which I mean, you'll kind of get to your experience too with what happened with Florence, but just, I don't see the payoff in this idea of like pleasured pain that
Yeah.
isn't.
like mosh pitting where you're like to the
Yeah.
point that
Oh my
you're
gosh,
throwing up,
that's
getting
so...
thrown around.
Yeah.
But I mean, so many of
I
these
went to like a
concerts, like-
concert in like Charlotte last week, and like there was a mosh pit, and they like him and his friends had to go outside because they like really couldn't take it anymore because people
Yeah.
were throwing up. They were with like a girl who's like literally shorter than me. She like
Yeah.
got lost in the crowd. Like you just like it's crazy.
So many people are.
But that's
asking
like the
actually
fan
feel-
experience now, and like you feel like it's
Yeah.
almost like COVID happened, and people were like, "Oh, we gotta like get back to like get back to like what it was before COVID."
Not
like,
giving
with
a
these
shit about
experiences,
stuff.
but they just decided they needed to amplify their experiences like 10 times more and be like more like crazy about it.
Yeah,
Crazy's not a good word. Sorry.
Ableist.
Yeah.
calling ourselves
More energetic.
calling
No,
ourselves
no,
on our
normalize-
own.
Yeah, but normalize calling
Actually,
yourself out.
I'm gonna touch on that very soonly. Once we get actually in the gates, but so I mean, not a ton of stuff was happening. Like during the actual we all got super tired by the point that it was like the peak heat of the day. Like it was like 2 o'clock. It was extremely hot. We were taking like intermittent trips of going back to the car to like sit in the air conditioning and like read and do whatever. But also like keeping our spot and like keeping our stuff safe. And it for some reason, I mean, there were people who were like door dashing food or who were, you know, going to grab something at like the, you know, gas station down the street and like coming back or whatever. Like that was like fine. Everybody, you know, we normalized it, whatever. But the only time that like the people who I guess wanted to portray themselves to be dedicated the most actually went anywhere was to go get dressed and to go like put on their outfits and do all their crazy makeup and do their hair and make their little, you know, headpieces and whatnot. And they were going to literally get dressed in like Barnes and Noble's bathrooms down the fucking hall or down the road and like, you know, get all dolled up for the club. So they were still at that point at least conveying that they were not strapped for material, or strapped for survival goods. This is for Florence. I did it for her. Yeah. It was bizarre. So I decided to leave at that point at like 4:00-ish because my friends had a hotel room.
You already got your number.
I had already got my number. I had been there for fucking 6 hours at that point. I'm like, if anybody has to question this, I've been here. So I go to see my friends and to get ready and to clean myself off a little bit and like get something to eat. By the time we got back, everybody had started lining up. So then we're standing in the heat as opposed to like sitting on the ground or sitting around. There was like one bench that can maybe accommodate 3 people, possibly. Otherwise, we're all lined up out to the road. It's, inland Georgia, so it's like pretty hilly. Like, we were down and around and, it was a whole trek. I had to park like way far away from the actual venue. There was a parking lot that was like right across the way from like the concrete pad that we were all sitting on, and it was like deluxe or like premium parking, which I would hope that if you were disabled or if you had if you had a handicap plaque, that you would be able to kind of park closer to the venue or at least get a shuttle. I think I did see some people who got somebody who had a golf cart that like worked on the grounds to like come and get them and help them out with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if people treat people like shit though.
Yeah. The security was super cool for that show. Like they were all super nice. And,
maybe
like,
not the Florence show. With it.
I think they're contracted out by Live Nation because all the people that I saw had Live Nation stuff on, but I don't know who actually worked at the venue. But so we are all, we're starting to get lined up. So David, the older gentleman,
number one.
I don't think he was actually number one.
You
but
said he was up there.
He was one of the first ones. He was between 1 and 5.
An OG.
Yeah, he was an OG. Number one was a woman. He was policing that line. He was like walking around in like this old steampunk getup, like gold glitter on his face, like this fruitcake, yelling at people and saying like, "We have been here since 4:00 this morning, and we have been numbering ourselves so that we can get in a single file line and go in and process in an orderly." And I was like, David, be serious. Yeah, David, we all have fast passes. All the people who had been there since way early in the morning for some reason also spent the extra $15 on the fast pass. Because we just, in our pigeon brains, thought that like maybe Florence and the Machine was going to completely pack out the barricade. That didn't happen. That did not happen. We could have gotten there at 3 or 4 o'clock and achieved the exact same thing. And I know that because people who showed up at 6 o'clock were on the barricade, and it was not a problem. So, kind of a waste of the day, but it was fun sometimes. But they were absolutely policing us. But the security guards were just like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, David,
just David.
Listen to David. David, I followed him on Instagram, and he went to at least like 5 Florence shows back to back. First of all, the amount of money we can.
I am not financially stable.
Do y'all want to guess what he does?
Wait, let me in a second. So David Gay.
Old gay man from I think like Fort Lauderdale.
What is he, a teacher?
No. Do you want to guess?
I was gonna say the obsession with the single file line.
That's a good guess.
A banker.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was his
day job.
If that was like a job that he had back in the day. He is a sex and intimacy guide.
David.
David.
It's. I think at this point it's comical. To be truthfully.
So a guide.
Intimacy guide.
So wait, it's like 3 ways?
He wrote a book.
So my question
is that different than like a sex and intimacy therapist? Like he's not certified.
He's not. Yeah, that's what I'm like. You're not certified.
No chance.
You just have written about this.
But my question is that as a guide is like you are there jacking
Stop. Okay, he's not an
No.
escort. Well,
I
actually,
think as
he
a
might be
guy,
a sex
like,
worker. He might be a
No,
sex
I
worker.
think he probably just like meets with people and like helps them decide what they want to do with their partner.
Yeah.
Like whereas like a therapist would be like,
Well, like, I know he's not a
You know,
therapist, but
like
I'm saying like,
pathologizing,
but I
yeah.
feel like when you're saying like, oh, you're a guide, like you're a tour guide, like you're showing them the ropes. You
Yeah.
might
I think it would be showing
give
you
him
like a conversation.
inside info. Is he given the real inside info? That's what I want to know.
I mean, I don't know. I should message him and ask him, but I know he wrote
An
a book.
interesting aspect of desire. You never know who's
Yes.
going to be, you know, what.
Well, and I think most of the people who were at that show were fucking queer. Like, let's be
Yeah.
serious. Like, all of
The
the
Venn
men-
diagram was very
all of the men
overlapping
who
in
had
one,
been, yeah, any man who had been camping out there was gay, definitively.
or bisexual.
We talked about it. Yeah, like it was clear. And like she just attracts a certain demographic, and I mean she has whole
Type of
songs
music,
about queer love
Yeah.
and stuff. Like whatever. It's not out of the ordinary for a Florence show to be rattled with fruits. So we start. They actually let us go through metal detectors, and we get through whatever. They are keeping things military single file. The security guards at that point were like, we are actually going to process in an orderly fashion. So they had us serpentine snaking around. Once we had actually gotten through the gates, they were still walking us and this is security at that point. It wasn't even David. It was just like the security guards were like, we are going
David told
to...
the security what to do.
No, literally.
David was
So-
the face of a movement.
But apparently the pit wasn't ready by the time they actually opened the
David
gates.
had
and
a
they were
Live Nation
still...
t-shirt in his bag.
David worked day.
The unsung hero.
David was clocked in. And we were lined up. I was like, I have to buy water,
Yeah,
now.
gotta go.
So I stepped out of line for a second, and I got back in because I was right there. But I got some water, slammed it, and then they were like, okay.
What was the water? Like they had public water?
It was liquid death.
But like, was
No,
it
like
like,
merch, like stands. I would assume concession stands.
Yes,
oh,
confessions.
you had to buy it?
I spent $5 on a can of liquid death water. Yeah.
I mean, like concert venues are gonna
I
charge you
guess
for water.
the
The only-
safety,
the only-
right?
Yeah. Well, when like everyone
And she
at
had to open
Harry,
them for us. Yeah.
yeah, everyone at Harry exited like in the same way, and they had just like
Yeah.
what are those ply boards or whatever full of just like Aquafina bottles.
Yeah.
But that's also like when I went to another concert. I went to a concert in February in DC, like a Louis Tomlinson concert, and that was in like a smaller venue, like at the Anthem in DC, which is like everyone was standing or whatever. Like passing out every 5. Like Louis had to stop the concert.
Are you serious?
Louis stopped the concert 5
Damn.
times because people were just passing out. And so like
That's
they had
intense.
to ship the water, but like me and my sister were up because there was like different levels where you could like be in general admission but still like not in the pit. But yeah, like it's becoming like a health problem.
It's and that
Yeah,
kind of
y'all are
talking
going a little
to
too
your
hard.
point about like starving yourself, or like you are so thirsty that you're literally like, I'm not going to drink it. I mean, that's partially and then I think it's also just the space in itself like is not conducive. Oh, you want to keep this space, you want to view this thing, you want to see this thing. Well, you're sacrificing that if you get up to go to the bathroom. You're sacrificing that to get up and get some space. Like, and another thing too, thinking about like, especially if you're a kind of person you're walking and you need to use the restroom, and like needing to
Are
bring
people
some.
gonna-
Well, even just like bringing a friend with you, like then having to both cram your way back through to get to your friends who you can't even hear on the phone if you wanted to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're just concert spaces are really strange. I mean,
and also just
They
like
are.
the idea of like having people be surveillance technologies. Sorry, a little stretching, but like that's also like organized like by the fans, which is like that happens. It happens at like the Harry concerts, happen at other concerts, but like where did this like idea come from that it's like you have the right to like number people and like put them in a line.
K-pop
Oh, I'm sure
fans are. It is absolutely just.
Brutal.
A war.
Oh
Like,
my
it's
gosh!
all that.
It's like if you speak about this thing, or you. I mean, it's just like constant feedback of people basically like, you should go die. Just like terrible comments because of this.
Because they are wild. Yeah.
Because I mean, it's
They're
this,
unhinged.
it is just this fascinating like collective. It is this. It is this fascinating, just collective like distaste that's brewed out of a parasocial relationship, which I find so interesting because 99.9% of you that all went to the Florence show do not know Florence and the Machine, do not know anybody in there, and yet are going out in the blistering heat for 8 hours
for this British woman.
For, she didn't ask for that. This is something that is created.
She probably does not want us to do that.
Exactly. Like the technology, like that you're talking about, like this is created through this fandom. I mean, that is this weird.
Which is created through social media. Like, which exacerbated the issue.
And Sage, our guest speaker, if she comes, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there if she shows up. But the fact that you and nobody else wanted to show up this early, but she was so nervous and anxiety,
because she has been in the depths of Florence Stan Twitter.
Oh, Stan Twitter,
and found out that people were getting there at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, so then it induces this, I have to get there even earlier, or else I'm not going to be able to. You could have showed there at 3 o'clock, and
we would have achieved the exact same.
There was like, I was on Harry's Stan Twitter, exposing myself. There was like girls in New York paying homeless men to stand in line for them.
That's
really
like people experiencing homelessness. I'm sorry, I don't know what the proper terminology is there.
Go for them getting money. But like either way, I just feel like that.
Also, the disparity of like there being a line of these girls sleeping in tents, like in front of a staircase that actually has people who are homeless like sleeping on the tents every day in New York.
Yeah,
like
who are probably policed. By the actual police.
And that's
where these girls just get to. It's like,
they're like,
it's an experience. It's like, I'm sleeping on the streets in New York. It's like you don't get to.
This isn't glamour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention the other issues which have been talked about in the readings that we've had. Like Penn Station is one of the biggest, Penn Station where MSG is above is like one of the biggest examples of like anti-homeless architecture. Like there's no seats in there. We were trying to wait for my sister, and my mom and I were like, we've been to Penn Station like so many times in our life. We know that there's a waiting area in there. Nope, they've blocked it off. You have to have the ticket to go into that waiting area now. Like it is just like all these sorts of things, and like 2 blocks down the street from MSG, like there were literally benches that were being sprayed water on to make sure that people weren't sleeping on those benches.
Wow.
And it's like these fans just get to like
congregate
in these experiences for themselves.
Well, that's just cute and fun and all this stuff, and then you're.
Which I'm sure Atlanta, Georgia, like has similar like situations. It's just like this like fan culture has just like.
Well, we were in a suburb, so it was like we could have slept on the damn actual street and it would have been fine. But I mean, But
the point is that if you had a group of people that were homeless,
they're not allowed to do that.
It's
like the TikTok trends that are like, what's something that's like funny if you're rich, but like unclassed, like not like funny if you're poor.
Or even the fact that
like peeing outside,
or having, or just the fact that it's like, what kind of power disparity do you have to pay somebody? I mean, I'm like, okay, go for this person for making money, like in the way that you want to make money. Like, I'm not by any means like dogging these people that were accepting money to stand in line. Like, do what you need to do. But I think that is just, again, to your point of it's that level of privilege and power that comes from, okay, I know that you have nowhere to go, so I'm going to capitalize on this situation so I can have 4 hours of comfort in a hotel room or whatever.
And not to mention like any of these like people who are homeless in New York City could have been put in a situation where they are homeless because of a disability or those things, and it's like they have
or are not potentially afforded with the ability to go to a performance.
Mental illness or whatever, so stigmatized with that community as well.
You wouldn't have been able to camp out there if you were, theoretically, you wouldn't be able to camp out there if you were disabled. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
And when we were actually like,
which puts those fans at the bottom of the
And when we were lined up and like actually ready to go in, there was a couple walking up, and one of them had a mobility aid, and I'm like, well, they couldn't fucking stand here all fucking day. They couldn't stand here for an hour, so they had fast passes. So they walked to the front of the line where the fast pass lane was, and they were like assuming, we're gonna be able to get in here. And then David was like, back of the line now. Like, these people have been here for so long. I'm like, we can't let one fucking person in. We can't let one person in.
And clearly you said it didn't make a difference because
It did not make a
empty in the
difference.
pit, yeah.
Because guess where they were? They were probably 4 people behind me for the show.
Yeah.
Part of that too, because they did end up getting in like at a decent time. They had to like go out and around to get actually down into the pit because there were 50 stairs going down to actually get to the pit. So we were escorted into the pit, escorted down the stairs, and like walked in. And I at that point felt like I was gonna pass out because I hadn't eaten enough because I was forgetful, and also was sweating bullets. Thank God I didn't know they did this at Barricades because I've never been Barricade for like a big show. But they had like giant coolers of water and they were literally squirting them into like our mouths. And they had like little shot glasses and stuff. But they were like keeping us hydrated.
Well, and like
shout out
with,
to Gil.
things for like concerts, like I don't know what like the bag policy or anything is, but like imagine if
Clear
you wanted
bag.
to camp out all day, but you like were diabetic and like needed to bring a bag to have your or like have your pump with you, and it's like you're getting dehydrated. You
get
you can
flagged
eat because you
have
forget,
metal
but like
in
if you if you don't have like whatever you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they make you throw out like water bottles.
Water bottles,
if they're not,
food, yeah.
like that's inaccessible.
Which, I mean, talking to the point of, what I had said last episode is this idea of taking the path of least resistance. And that's going to be a different scale depending on what person, whatever day they're having, whatever health day they're having, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And thinking about the fact that so many people and so many Florence fans, so many Harry fans, like, are going to literally not even try to go to a show like that because of how inducing the experience is going to be, that they're just going to be like, okay, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah. I mean, it was stressful for me even, like, being out there in the sun all day and then having to like stand for another 3+ hours in
For the
pit
show,
for the actual show. Thank God they started giving us water at one point because I was like, this is not going to go well. But I was already at Barricade and I was like, I'm not allowed to move. But I mean, Brogan started having like a panic attack before the show actually started. He had to like leave. And he left his spot on the Barricade, and I had another friend who was with me who same thing happened to them. They came back at one point, but then they had to leave again because they were getting so overstimulated. It was a very gentle crowd, I will say. Like the actual pit like was not super aggressive. Like I was at the very front. Like people weren't pushing on me to like get closer. Like they were all respectfully distant. But at the same time, it was still.
But I mean, you've exuded so much energy in the day of staying there for hours.
Yes, it was exhausting.
Yeah, and I mean, concerts are such a narcotics heavy space too. I mean, depending on what concert you're going to, I don't know how many people are on Molly at a Harry Styles concert, but like, the types of concert you go to, especially, I mean, those kinds of spaces are not really conducive for being super high or
they're
whatever.
also not accessible, just like period, in terms of like volume and like all those sorts of things, strobing lights
the lights were absolutely not doing anything for anybody. I mean, I cannot imagine being epileptic and being in that setting, and I'm like, this is not music where you need to be flashing lights like that. This is like pretty orchestral, but like they were flashing some lights in that.
But I feel like a lot of artists feel like they are kind of pushed in this corner of having to make a super engaging visual show to like basically act as a defense for why they're charging what they're charging, because it's kind of like you have an artist is always struggling, especially ones that are not like Kanye West or whoever. It's giant names, but artists are constantly rattling with this idea of I can't charge too much because I need people to like be able to afford this, but then also if I charge this amount, people are going to expect stuff and are going to criticize me for it. So like, oh, I'm going to throw in some lights here because it'll be more engaging, but then you're ostracizing 10% of your population who that's an overload of a sensory experience for them.
And she said at a point, she was like, I want y'all to put your technology away, I want you to put your phones away, I want you to be present, I want you to be involved, I want you to be like, I want you to feel what's going on right now, which I do think is a good thing, but it was a weird explicit like we should
Call to
not be
action.
using technology.
Or when they like
That's
some,
interesting.
Or
It was-
some like
yeah.
venues and stuff are like literally taking away technology. I know Kendall went to I think a John Mulaney show like last
Well,
year or
comedy
something. And
shows
they
are,
put the
Oh yeah, you're not allowed
the
to
lock
be
on your phone. Like they literally put
Yeah.
your phone in like a sleeve and lock it.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And that's
That
a
is-
danger, especially
I mean,
if something were to happen in the
I
gym.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was at the comedy show that I was at most recently, it was if you're seen with your phone out taking pictures of videos,
You
you will
are
get
taken
escorted
out,
out, no
yeah.
warning.
Yeah.
Because they obviously don't. These shows that are going to
You're
Netflix, they
recycling
don't want to
material,
spoil
yeah.
them. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the, you could basically just reiterate them out. Like you could,
Yeah.
but whatever. That's
If
a
your
whole
memories are
side.
weird,
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like no tech or whatever, which was like interesting. I mean, people still had it out or whatever. It was a request, and not all of us listened to it. But I think that and the way that those amphitheaters are set up most of the time, like the way that I've experienced them, they will have a designated like accessibility section, which
Yeah.
is it's separated from the pit, but it is at the back ends of the pit on either side, close-ish to exits, and close to ramps and whatnot. And there's usually a pretty big dividing walkway between like seating and like the standing pit. And
Is
that's
that-
where those are kind of
Is that
concentrated.
too much of the peanut allergy kid table kind of thing, though?
I mean, it is very bad, but it is also a.
I mean, it's better than nothing.
Who if someone needs like mobility aids, they're not going to be able to like stand in that crowd
Yeah,
of people.
it would just
you know.
be.
It's potentially not safe.
Were there any translators?
No, I didn't see any ASL translators, and I wrote that down. Yeah, I was like, interesting, because I've been to plenty of shows where like that was the case.
Yeah.
Recently too. But yeah, that specific show did not have one, which I thought was particularly fascinating. And I really am. I think it's kind of an ignorance thing, but like I wonder how deaf people like pay and go to shows when it's like a visual experience. It's also kind of depending on where
Being
you are.
included.
Yeah, they
being
also could just be
included
like
and stuff,
they could be hard
hard of
hearing
hearing
or
or it's I mean if you're going to
and I feel
comedy
like the
shows, I mean,
vibrations
that's
and
totally
stuff
different.
like that.
True vibrations would be interesting. Yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, it was an experience for sure. She definitely she is very interactive with like the pits at her shows, and she also like will run out and like go between like the pit and the seat sections and like give the people in the back like a decent view of her. Like she will just run barefoot, just like through the crowds, and let people get interactive with her because she is feigning, reach to some extent. It was a really good show. Like I had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. I do think that specific venue probably could have been structured a little bit differently. I think that there were a lot of things that like it was like a great distance to like use a ramp or something, and it was also like terraced in a very dramatic way, but you had to go out and around like a very 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 long way to like be able to move around.
But I mean, there were
yeah.
some accessibility sections was better. The performance maybe itself was not super great when it comes to the light. But I mean, shows are so odd because they
even I was getting overstimulated,
Yeah.
which I think is something that happens to be a little bit more now than I used to. And then she, the very last song that she played, she was like, "I want you, if you can, to like lift the people around you up." So I literally put this random girl on my shoulders for like the last song, and it was, oh my god, I thought I was gonna die when I did that, which was a choice that I made.
Yeah.
But I was like, man,
But
you
it
really,
is
you really
but-
want us to be like,
But it's super
hoisting these
interesting.
people
It's
up.
it's super
It's
interesting
fascinating.
though, like this idea of like peer pressure culture that's involved in fandom and
yeah,
music audienceship or whatever.
Yeah.
That there are these pressures, albeit you don't have to follow up.
oh, not many of
but-
us were actually holding people up. 'Cause
Yeah,
most
but
people
I
in front were
think
pretty
though,
tiny.
this weird, and maybe tell me if I'm wrong here, but this weird thing where you're like, oh, like I'm taller, like
Yeah.
I can do this. I would have never in my mind thought I'm gonna try to put somebody on my shoulders, but I think that sometimes it's like people will see somebody that's over 6 foot and they'll just be like, oh, she's talking to you.
Assumed ability.
Yeah, exactly. Assumed ability and how that creates, or even, I mean, even the fact is like, I mean, for me or you, Michelle, it's like, okay, we should be on somebody's shoulders. Like that's the weird like kind of pressure. Yeah.
It would work
All right,
out,
get up here, bitch.
Yeah, come on up.
Get right on down, boy.
It wouldn't even. My view probably wouldn't even be.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Like,
even get up.
I would get
Just
up.
by your own merit, probably. But,
But
anyway.
Oh, and I was looking around, and I was like, "All right, who wants to get up?" And just
Yeah.
the girl behind me was like,
Yeah.
That's really cool. Oh, and then as soon as the show was over, everybody was like charging out of that damn amphitheater. Like every man for himself, like you know, just fighting people off, trying to get to their cars. I didn't see an Uber line or anything. It was like we were all beelining for the cars. But it was fun. I don't know.
So as far as so maybe there are 3 categories.
Yeah.
Talk about desire.
Yeah.
Talk about desire a little bit. I'm interested.
Everyone's gay. And it was
a desire to be part of a group.
Well, I
Desire
was gonna
to
say,
be.
like, I think like the concert fandom thing is like fandom's desire for like experiences or desire to like be the best fan or desire for something like that is like so amplified by the technology that they're using, by social media, thus putting like accessibility, disability at like disadvantages.
Yeah.
Quite
To be the best
literally
fan.
quite literally using that and making it at the expense of your physical and mental
Ability to do that thing, to be that person.
Well, and even the desire, I think, to some extent, for a collective culture, because this is an artist who is not entirely underground, but is not somebody who's as widely appreciated as somebody like Harry Styles. The people who are fans of her are a little bit more concentrated in that one setting where they otherwise would not be. There's also, strangely enough, like a desire for, like, everybody around, well, a lot of the people around us were definitely, like, striving for maximalism. They desired, like, everything. They wanted to be ornate, they wanted to be grandiose, they wanted to be...
Which is just this...
Yeah.
I mean, I think, too, is like...
Especially now in, like, postmodern, you know, kind of, like, super simplified, very meta and self-referential. It was you know,
everybody was giving a lot.
Yeah, everybody was giving the most that they could, and I gave as much as I could when I hoisted that girl on my back when I was dehydrated.
So rank what they did best in terms of technology, disability, or desire. 1, 2, 3. Best to worst.
Yeah, best to worst. Desire, they created the fantasy, they gave to the girls what needed to be gave. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say disability second, because there were spaces and like there were people behind me who had mobility aids, there were people around me who like nobody was really questioning like, you know, they needed earplugs or, you know, that they needed to like step out or something. Like everybody was
the
being very
options were
accommodating.
there and the accommodation was there.
Yeah, so whether or not they were up to par
With what they should have been.
another thing, yeah. And then like I don't know, I think the technology of the space was kind of counterintuitive sometimes. The barricade itself was, I think, very, you know, I mean we're there to be, you know, a part of what's going on, and she kind of queered that line between like the barricade and you know the crowd and like hoisted herself over it, you know, several times or whatever. But I mean, we went into that space hoping to be as close as physically possible to her, and they erected barriers for us so that we could not cross that threshold to be with her. But she said, "Fuck that shit." And you know the technology of like the stage was super distracting. The technology of the actual seating arrangements and stuff.
Surveillance.
David policing everybody.
I was gonna say just the technology of like fanship on subreddits, on Twitter, on whatever.
The system that allowed us to get there at the time that we did, but also failed to communicate that we did not need to do that.
Yeah.
We could have just all decided together that we were going to get there at like 3, you know?
And just see what
But then
happens,
some people lie, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is. It was a good show. It was a really good show, and I had a really good time. But the people who I started following, who I continued to keep up with, who had been going to her shows for a week straight, was like, oh, God. And they all made posts, and they were like, my body is ravaged by this week, but like it is so worth it.
take a
Like,
break.
y'all spent thousands of dollars to do this to yourselves. Because those tickets were not cheap.
Not on that grad student salary.
I know, we cannot do that. I did it once, and it was a stretch. But it was fun. I had a good time. So.
That was interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thanks for your insight, and we'll see you next time on our last episode of